In this video, I will go over how to use an Excel spreadsheet to import product prices and product low-high quantities as seen on the price tabs of the product information window. To begin, you need to have an Excel spreadsheet with the products you wish to update. You will need the product ID that you are updating, the price or percentage field, the price code, and the unit type. These fields are optional depending on what you're trying to import. As you can see here, some have low-high quantities, some just have low quantities, some have various other information added to it, and it's possible to import it with just a high quantity as well. It's also possible to have several other products here. Now let's set up the import and activate. To begin, close the Excel file and save if needed. Be sure to close the Excel file before you begin your import. If you were to try to import the Excel file while it's still open, it's going to cause an error in Activate. If this does happen, you need to completely exit out of Activate. Be sure you close out of the Excel file and then log back in, and then you can try the import again. So to begin, we're going to go to File, Import Data. Now, I just would like to point out what we're updating today is on this tab right here. We will update the code, the price, and the units. I've already set up the mapping, but I would like to show you how it should look. For the price tabs, you need to go to Product Prices, and this one I saved the mapping. It's possible to edit the mapping, and it's also an option to not save at all. You have several options you can choose here. As you can see under columns, there's only the product price. Even though you don't see a key, which means you have to map it, it is required to map the product ID. This is so Activate knows what product to update. However, don't get confused by this R. This is a required field if it's a brand new product. So if you go over here, required fields are in yellow. The required fields here use an R. But again, all you would need is the product ID and whichever fields you wish to update. I went ahead and used all of these fields so that you could see what they look like. Please note I have this first row of spreadsheet contains field names checked. If not, it's going to try to view this first row as a product ID. I then follow my mapping based on these different fields. It's also good to note that some of these have a default field. For instance, a code could have a default field. This is good if you want to upload all of the products with the same code. Instead of mapping all of them in the Excel file, you could just map it here. You will also notice that I do not have this last field map, and that's because you don't see anything right here. There's no need for me to map it, but there's also nothing for me to match it over here. So it's okay to have extra columns in your Excel file. The next thing to do is begin import. It's going to ask if you want to save your file or if you want to update any changes you've made, and this is optional. Once you go through here, it's going to tell you if any rows have failed or passed. If there are any failures, it's going to show up right here. At this point, if there were errors, you can go back and edit, or you can still try to import. Before I finish this import, I would like to point out one thing. Over here, you have these different tabs. You have a Summaries tab, and you can add description for what this import is. You also have these options. We have more information on these options on our help site, but please take note of the various options you have, such as ignoring data with blank fields and creating new records. It's going to prompt you to back up. I'm not going to today, but it's going to ask me if I want to still continue even though I didn't back up, and I'm going to say yes. If for some reason at this point your import fails, it's going to ask you if you want to save the exceptions. Once your import is done, you just push OK and close. As you can see here, once I refresh this, I then have all of my prices listed down here. And I even have that note. While the desired fields may change depending on what you want to import or update, the basic rules will stay the same. So you can follow them for just about any Excel import you wish to do and activate.